Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the morning show where we do Q&A and magic discussion. Good morning to everyone who's ready for Decklist review, because in the second part of this show, we do Decklist review. You got a 75, you want to submit, get some feedback from the community. You better believe you can do that. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for January 11th, 2020. So brew up your cup of coffees and let's brew up that magic. Good morning to everybody. It's the 11th, right? Not out of my mind. Oh yeah, it's the 11th. Good morning, Steven. Can't wait to spend money to replace all my basics for snow basics. Just hold off. We haven't seen the whole all the spoilers revealed yet. We don't know what what I want to say, the foreseen snow hate is going to be, because apparently Gavin Verhey spilled the beans. There is going to be a singular one card, one piece of snow hate in the entire set. They could have done all sorts of stuff, like give advantages to creatures or artifacts or instants or sorceries. If your opponent had a snow-covered land, instead they only have one piece of snow hate. Let's hope it makes the difference in Modern and Legacy. So good morning to everyone. Can't wait for the snow hate. Yeah, that's right. We can't wait for the snow hate. I'm getting some backlash from the fucking Scred Red players. Why are you hating on our deck? And I'm like, I'm not hating on your deck. But fact of the matter is, like, the Snowlands are a fucking free roll. We gotta change this. Morning, Dire Wolf. Thank you very much, Cactus of Ishmak. If anyone was there, I got a 5-0 on stream with Merfolk yesterday. Very... I guess it's not like an old classic list, but it was like mono blue, a lot of old stuff. Papa Joe, good morning. Good morning, Gustavo. What if the snow hate costs 6? Because Gavin, oh yeah, I know their minds might be in EDH, and like and they don't even need the snow hate, right? Like, why would EDH even give a crap about snow hate? Good morning, Blue White player. RDNT, good morning. Imagine if the snow hate is a 1-mana artifact. Ooh, I'm all for it. As long as it can see play, that's the important part. If there's snow hate and it's like unplayable and no one's playing, not even a single like 0.00001% is playing it in their sideboards or in their main deck, it's like pointless. Basically, the snow lands or the regular lands are still jailed. Good morning, Benjamin K. I did have a pretty good weekend. I enjoyed my weekend. Got some YouTube stuff done and also got that 5-0 on stream. I should stream more. I am a streamer now. Good morning, Harry. Good morning, Ugly Hood Rat. Will you start with the spoilers? Absolutely. We have a lot of spoilers to look at. What do you think of the Foretell counterspell? I think it's garbage. I think it's absolute garbage. No one's going to play that card. What was it? Like, saw it coming? Yeah, here we go. Saw it coming. This card will see no play. You have to pay 2, Matt. Okay, as a control deck, you absolutely don't want to, like, foretell anything. Like, you don't want to take your time to tap out. You like, okay, that's an opportunity for your opponent to get cards underneath you. So essentially, you're spending 4 mana on this on this card, and it's just not worth it at all. It's a pretty bad card. I don't know. Maybe we'll see standard play. I don't know if standard even wants this sort of thing. Like, if you're at 4 mana, let's say you're at 4 mana and you want to pay 2 to foretell it. I mean, you just have the 3 mana up anyway. You have the 3 mana up anyway. It doesn't change anything. Okay, let's look at some new cards, though. Some new cards on Coffee and MTG. Good morning, Mikey J. What spoiler is going to ruin all the MTG Eternal formats this time? We don't know. You know what? I think, like, all the cards that have been broken, that no one could see them coming. Is there anything interesting down here? I don't think so. Oh, there's the World Tree. Okay, hold on. I want to give my analysis of the World Tree. I think this card is unplayable. I think the card is unplayable. I don't know. Maybe, okay, in Modern. I don't know what it's going to do in Pioneer or other formats. Because here's, okay, fact of the matter is, 10 mana. Okay, riddle me this, people. What deck in Modern can assemble 10 mana on a regular basis? 10 mana. So if you don't know, the World Tree, ETB tapped, adds a green. As long as you control 6 or more lands, the lands you control have add 1 mana of any color. Then you can burn 10 mana, sacrifice it, search your library for any number of God cards, put them on the battlefield, then shuffle your library. What? Tron doesn't assemble 10 lands. So I should say, I shouldn't say mana. I should say Actually, yeah, we could go with that. They assemble 10 mana, and we'll just go with the mana thing. Tron assembles 10 mana, sure. We could even use that as an example. Amulet Titan, that's a good example. So basically, we're looking at Titan decks and Tron decks. Now tell me this. Uro decks could. I think it's a little clunky though, because by the time they hit 10 mana, I don't think they care about this effect. So here's the deal, people. Where are they going to fit any number of god cards in their deck? Like, how much room is there in an Amulet deck or a Titan deck or like even Reclaimer Titan to put a bunch of god cards in their deck? Like, what's the payoff here? There's very few archetypes that can get this amount of mana and sacrifice it. And by the way, you need actually 10 lands. Tron isn't actually going to do it because Tron will not be able to pay the double white, double blue, double black. Just every individual land has tap, add 1 mana of any color. So it's got to be something like basically Titan decks. But anyway, I don't know how you jam a bunch of gods in there. I said initially, like, the only deck that could play this is like a Titan deck. But then, like, what gods are they going to play in their deck that they can look for and put on the battlefield to win? So anyway, I think it's just grossly unplayable. A lot of people are like, should they have made it legendary? I don't think so. I don't even think it matters. I think it's just a grossly unplayable card. The god cards come into play. God cards come into play. Tap 2. Trees for 5-color commander. Yeah, Blood Moon also makes this card unplayable. Anyway, I think people are like overrating this. I mean, what is the win condition? You can put any number of god cards on your onto the battlefield from your library. Okay, what does your 75 look like? And why would that win the game anyway? You know, is there like a one-shot kill with the god cards? Heliod combo. Well, you'd only get like 1 god out of this. You spend 10 mana to search your library for the 1 god. So other than that, there's no other combo. Unless there is a combo with Heliod and something else. Anyway, I think it's garbage. I think it's pure trash. Welcome to Coffee and MTG. We're just starting to go through the spoilers, all the exciting cards. Hope everyone had a great weekend. Let's start the week off on a good note. Let's start the week off right, looking at the new spoilers coming from Kaldheim. What else is good? Oh, they reprinted Village Rites? Interesting. This is a pretty clunky win condition for maybe a Simic deck, but I think the card is pretty powerful. Can't be countered. At the beginning of each upkeep, you get like a 3/3 blue serpent creature token. You can sacrifice a serpent, target permanent. Tap target permanent. Its activated abilities can't be activated. Or you can give this Coma indestructible. Pretty strong card. Expensive, so it has to be like a win condition for like a control deck. If there's anything that you guys want to go over, because I don't know if I'm gonna go over everything. Also, I don't even know all these cards. Do you like Valky as Uro counter? Oh, not really. I mean, it will be fine as a counter to Uro, but Thoughtseize sort of does the same job. But also, like, Valky just seems like very underwhelming in any other deck. I could be wrong though. You know, 2 mana, look at your opponent's hand, take a creature. That's not to be underestimated. The new Mutavault. All right, let's talk about the new Mutavault. Where are you, Mutavault? Here it is, Faceless Haven. Okay, I don't mean to spoil the fun, but I actually think this card is very close to unplayable. If you compare it to if Mutavault didn't exist, I'd be really excited about this card. Unfortunately, Mutavault exists, so this card is actually a lot worse. So it's a snow land, Faceless Haven, becomes a 4/3 creature with vigilance and all creature types until end of turn. It's still a land. The problem is it costs triple snow. Now, because Faceless Haven is a snow land and adds snow itself, even in generic mana, I still think the triple snow is a big deal because you need 4 lands on the battlefield. So, I mean, even as a Merfolk deck, very often I'm only working with 2 to 3 lands. Getting the 4 lands, a lot less common. And also, you can't like play a Lord plus activate your Faceless Haven at the same time. I think you would be attacking with Faceless Haven way less than Mutavault, because you need the density of lands on the battlefield. And I mean, it'll just basically be a colorless land very, very often. I don't think the fact that it's a 4/3 compensates for that. I am not excited about this land. I like the art. The art is very nice. I think it's really cool. I think it's an additional land you can put in your EDH deck. I do not think that this is going to replace Mutavault or even go beside Mutavault in the modern archetype. I don't know what deck wants this. 4 mana, 4/3 that you pay 3 for each turn seems straight up. Well, I don't know. It's not straight up bad. It's just worse than Mutavault. That's my problem. It's not better than Mutavault. I think it's a good card. It's not better than Mutavault though, and you can't play with too many like colorless lands in your deck. Have you seen the artifact that enables a tribal deck? Pretty mad, but still kind of. You mean is it the Champion of the Parish one? Is it the Champion of the Parish artifact? The Changeling? There's like a Bloodline Pretender Changeling. ETB, choose a creature type. We'll choose Merfolk, of course. Whenever another creature of the chosen type enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Bloodline Pretender. So it's basically like a very clunky Champion of the Parish for whatever creature type you want. I think it's this is just unplayable. Just unplayable. Good morning, Peyton. Yeah, I understand. So there's the Valk. Because we talked about it last time. Where's this Valky creature? We get to see the other side. Yeah, there we go. So Valky, God of Lies, a black generic. When it enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they reveal this way until Valky leaves the battlefield, and you can pay X, choose a creature card exiled with Valky with converted mana cost X, and Valky becomes a copy of that card. So you can have an Uro by turn 3. But the thing you're looking at the upside, but the downside is I think a 1 toughness creature is in a lot of trouble in today's modern metagame. It literally dies to everything. You can't attack into anything. You can't I guess the idea is you want to sink your mana into turning it into another creature, but there's like a downside to that too. So like let's say you pay 3 to copy a creature. In response, they kill Valky, and then I mean you just lost all your mana, you lost your time, Valky is dead, creature goes back to the opponent's hand. I think there's a lot of downside to this card. That's all. I don't think the upside I mean, is it good against Uro? Sure. Is it good against other decks? Nope. I think we'll have to wait and see how it plays out though. Like I said, I don't want to underestimate the card, but the toughness is very weak. Weak toughness. Ugh, so many foreign language cards. Reckless Crew, great X2/1 Red Dwarf Berserker creature tokens where X is the number of vehicles you control. I don't care about this. Each of those tokens may attach an equipment you control to it. Boring. Maskwood Nexus? Where's Maskwood? This is like sort of like a commanderish card. 4 mana. Creatures you control are every creature type. The same is true for creature spells you control and creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield. So it's like a painter servant for tribal decks. I think it's a decent commander card. And you know, this plus Master of Waves and the Lord of Atlantis means your elementals will survive Master of Waves dying. You can pay 3 mana, tap, create a 2/2 blue shapeshifter creature token with Changeling. But at 4 mana, it's not competitive. It's just not playable. At 4 mana, it does nothing when it enters the battlefield. It's got to do something amazing when it enters the battlefield to see competitive play. Why do I got to go double backspace every time? What do you think about Snakeskin Veil and Hardened Scales? Now, that's a good question. So this is the new hexproof, 1 mana hexproof card. Some people have speculated this might see play in... This might see play in Infect. I doubt it, because Infect it doesn't create a lot of power for the amount of mana. I don't know if Hardened Scales wants this effect, because I don't know if they really need hexproof. They seem to be okay with their stuff dying, and they get some death triggers. I mean, yeah, go kill the Hangerback Walker or whatever. I mean, that's the point of the card, is that it gets a benefit when it dies. But anyway, Snakeskin, maybe this will see play. I'm not going to underestimate a card that says 1 green, give hexproof to a creature plus a benefit. So maybe this can see play in Hardened Scales. Can you cascade into Tibalt, though? Someone did the math, and apparently you can cascade into Tibalt 22% of the time with no deck concessions. That sounds a bit high. That sounds ridiculously high. I think their math is dead wrong. 22% to hit Tibalt. Like, what's in their deck? Just like what cascade spells are you playing? It would depend highly on the architecture of the deck, like how the deck is constructed. Like, maybe you could achieve that if you make the average cost of the spells in your deck really high. 22 sounds pretty high to me, but like it will be an interaction. I don't know. We're gonna have to see how it pans out, because most definitely people are going to be doing that. People are going to be cascading into Tibalt, and we're just going to have to see how strong it is. That is a very meaningful interaction. What's this? Card looks good, but a little clunky. Flying, lifelink, hexproof from Planeswalkers, and has both. Sacrifice a creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker. 4/3 flyer with lifelink. It's nice, but 4 mana is tough. I could see this card seeing play. I'll just say that. It's possible. I've underestimated a lot of 4 mana, 5 mana creatures. Maybe under some certain circumstances, this is good. Protection from Teferi, the big Teferi, Jace the Mind Sculptor. All the evil stuff. What's the worst 4 mana card that is playable in Modern to me is that new Evolve. Doesn't seem to come close. Also, statistics are still BS. Well, anyway, I'm not a fan of that new Mutavault. Faceless Haven in Scred Red Modern. That's a possibility. You know what? Like, let's talk about Faceless Haven. There could be a home for this card. Like I said, I think it's a good card. I don't think this card is bad. It's just not going to replace Mutavault in the decks that can play Mutavault. So maybe that's a really good point. Maybe maybe in Scred Red, this is what they're looking for. It's a nice, big, chunky creature. They're going to have a lot of mana. They're going to the late game. They're playing Blood Moon. I think they're playing Blood Moons and stuff like that. So this might be a really good addition. And by the way, like I keep telling people that in those red deck wins, Scred Red decks, they have generally pretty crappy win conditions. Like you're controlling the game, but you got to win the game. You still got to win the game. You know what I mean? This is a really good suggestion. Maybe this can go into the Scred Red deck, or just any. I mean, I could see this even in red deck wins in the cases when they don't have Blood Moon out. Like, how big of a cost is it to just throw some colorless lands in there? So in games where they don't have Blood Moon, they just have a giant creature that they can attack their opponent with. So, I mean, I don't think the card is bad. I just don't think in the decks that play Mutavault, I don't think this is getting replaced. Because the cost on this is very high. But maybe to like mono color control deck, they could consider it. Righteous Valkyrie in Soul Sisters? Where's the righteous one? I might miss some of these cards just because they're in foreign languages. What's this? Oh, this is the Anthem. As Rally the ranks enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. It's like a narrow return to... There's like... Isn't this like a narrow version of a card that already gives your creatures +1/+1? Speaking of cascading, can you cascade into Stomp from playing Violent Outburst? From what I understand, you can. So we got some people that saying you can't cascade into Stomp. I'm pretty sure you can, actually. Let's just look up Cascade Adventure. Adventure and Cascade. Magic rulings. If you cascade into an adventure card, you choose to cast it for... Can you cast it? Going by this tweet from Rules, yes, you can cast the adventure this way. The cascade goes by the creature's CMC no matter what side you end up casting. So that's the basic rule. Yes, you can cascade into either side of Stomp. What's just important is that you cascade into the creature's CMC, and then you get to choose which side that you actually want to which side you actually want to cast. Good morning, Monster CC. Yeah, it's similar to Intangible Virtue, this new aura card. What is this stuff? This is a nice art. Search for Glory. Snow Sorcery. Search your library for a snow card, legendary card, or saga. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. You gain 1 life for each snow spent to cast this card. Seems sort of garbage, but you gain life. You know what? I shouldn't underestimate this card. 3 mana for a tutor is not a bad rate. Gaining some life from the snow actually might be relevant too. There's some possibility that this card sees play, but it's a little bit clunky at 3 mana. Doesn't put anything in play. Would it be good as a budget replacement of Mutavault? That's a good question. You know what? Where is... Oops, newest. Could Faceless Haven be like a budget replacement? Maybe. I think a fine budget replacement is just Fairy Conclave. Like, you might spend a lot of money just buying the snow-covered lands. Well, actually, snow-covered lands maybe are going to be really cheap going into this new set, because they're just going to print them all. Anyway, you could do it. Yeah, it's reasonable. 3-1 split with Mutavault and Mono Blue Fish? Nope, I would not. As I stated earlier, Faceless Haven is not going to be playable in any deck that plays Mutavault. Unplayable. Don't even try it. I have a lifelink deck. Can you tell me how to make it hard to beat for my opponents? You can submit it to Decklist Review. We do that in the second part of the show. Why won't the review deck command work for me on Discord? I'll quickly take a look. What's the problem? Are you snowmen? Okay, the problem is don't put so many words. You can't have more than 100 characters. Just put exclamation point, review deck, space, the URL. That's it. And just send it. You can even say modern, but don't put any additional words. Because if it's 100 characters or more, it rejects it. It's just I don't know. It's just the bot, the rules of the bot. We couldn't get around it. Sorry about that. Dredge got a new toy with Turgrid. Which one's Turgrid? Turgrid. Looking for you, Turgrid. Turgrid's Shadow. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Foretell. For 4. This is unplayable. This is useless. This is not a new toy. That is not seeing play. 4 mana is a lot of mana. Snowlands are never cheap. Acceptable looking Ice Age and Cold Snap are pretty pricey. Well, if you want the good classic stuff, yes, everything's pricey when it's old. Hello, Nikachu. Lately, I'm playing with hardened scales, and I like the deck. What kind of card do you think it needs to be printed in order to be tier 1 again? It doesn't need any cards to be printed to be tier 1 again. It just needs to make sure that there's no artifact hate in the metagame. I think hardened scales is well positioned right now, and I think if you want to go the hardened scales route, it would be a very good choice to play at the moment. I'm seeing hardened scales here and there. It just needs. I don't think it needs anything. It needs the metagame not to have Karn the Great Creator and Stony Silence and Collector Oof in popularity. What's your opinion on Coral Helm Commander for Mono Blue Merfolk? It's a fine card. It's even better when Plague Engineer is popular because it can fly over the opponents. Which deck will this set's Merfolk be best used in? We know it won't be Merfolk. It's hard to tell. There's that one that exiles artifacts and enchantments. It's like shapeshifters. I don't know. I'm not sure what creature type is going to best use this stuff. I mean, I guess the creature type that might benefit the most is Elves. They're getting some very specific cards. Green and 2 generic. Whenever you cast a creature spell, if snow of any of that spell's colors was spent to cast it, that creature enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. That's pretty good. Elves might take on a whole new look after this set. Oh, this is that new aura. Enchant permanent, ETB, draw a card. As long as enchanted permanent is a creature that has flying, and as long as enchanted permanent is an equipment and it has equipped creature has flying. So you don't need to put on the creature. You could put on the equipment and still give creatures flying. But if you put on the creature and the creature dies, goodbye, Rune of Aviation. Okay, this is a 2-mana card. I'm just looking at anything that might be remote. For the foreign cards, I'm just looking at anything that might be remotely playable. So a black and a generic Elf Berserker. So the black-green elf players, they might be excited about this. When it dies, if it had power 3 or greater, create a 2/2 black zombie Berserker token. That's good. I don't mind that. Now, you have to work a little bit to get that enabled, but that's not too bad. Too bad it wasn't a warrior. He looks like a warrior. Yeah, we went over the Snow Mutavault. It's pointless. I think it's unplayable in any deck where you play Mutavault already, and it might be good in a mono color control deck. I still love my mono blue Tron pet deck. Is it still playable in the meta? Yep, it is actually. Arcane Relic. Good morning. Thank you very much for a much-needed de-stressing stream. Everything in politics and rumors of possible martial law, definitely. I know, the world, it's a very stressful place right now. You can hide away in Coffee and MTG. Join us. Morning, just got up and need something to do. I usually make my breakfast around this time. But instead, I make my breakfast a little bit earlier so I can do this for everybody who's making their breakfast while being part of the show. Thoughts on Skydiver decks that utilize Karn the Great Creator to steal their opponent's permanents? All right, let's take a look at that. So there's some new archetypes perhaps getting given birth thanks to Thieving Skydiver. This card has had trouble seeing play because, like, what artifacts there are in the metagame. So it's a blue and a generic, kicker X can't be 0. Flying ETB, when it enters the battlefield, you can pay X and steal artifacts with converted mana cost X or less. But the problem is there's not enough artifacts in the metagame. But so, like, how do we solve this? Liquid metal coating, apparently. So there are decks utilizing liquid metal coating. They turn your stuff into artifacts, and then they steal it with Thieving Skydiver, and also can utilize Karn the Great Creator. So you, like, turn things into artifacts, play Karn the Great Creator, hurt their mana. Actually a pretty creative deck, and I think it's going to be a very playable deck. A lot of people are making different variations. So it's going to be interesting to see how that deck develops. So you're warned, people. A Liquid Metal Coating, Thieving Skydiver, Karn the Great Creator deck is out there. Oh, hold on. So there was a different deck. I think they meant Tegrid, Goddess of Dread. So someone said Tegrid. I'm gonna look for Tegrid, Goddess of Dread. Is this it? No. Oh, this one? It's double-sided. So one side is double black, 3 generic. Legendary creature god, legendary artifact, Tegrid, Goddess of Dread, Menace. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent, you can put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Both of them cost too much mana. Tap, target player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice. This is it's unplayable. It's still garbage. Dredge doesn't play with these types of cards. Like, they need to play with cards that are relatively they work on they operate on a world where they play cheap stuff. There's like a lot of amazing things you can play in Modern for like 4 or 5 mana. I don't think this is one of them. I mean, they can get to the mana too, but like early in the game, I think it's just not. It's probably just a win more card for the most part. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I mean, this doesn't look like what Dredge is looking for, in my opinion. Do you think Elves can get back to tier 2 or tier 1? I do think so. I think they just have to change their deck. I think they have to change what they do. Tell us a good mana card or artifact that gives white mana. Can anyone help? What do you mean by like a good card? I mean like something more than a 2 mana rock? Also, please don't spam. It does not. Okay, rules. If you want some help for me to see your question among all the questions, give 3 question. Here's the rules around here. Give 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me a lot find your questions amongst all the comments. So you don't like spam away like this. See, look, Benjamin knows what to do. Why is Delver of Secrets not good in Modern but amazing in Legacy? Because they can protect it for free in Legacy. They can stack their deck to flip the Delver a lot easier with Ponder, with Brainstorm. They've got the tools to make that Delver of Secrets as strong and as powerful as possible, as quickly as possible, and they can protect it with Daze and Force of Will. In Modern, like, first off, there's no way of guaranteeing that Delver of flipping at all, unless you play with some like ridiculously clunky cards. Second off, another thing is that in Modern, there's way more creature removal, like infinitely more creature removal. So even there's like no way of protecting this damn thing. Whereas in Legacy, there's way less creature removal. You can be pretty sure that if you get this 3/2 creature online, that you just have to protect it a little bit and that'd be it. Whereas in Modern, you'd have to be facing like infinite hate. So the one time that you do have a creature that sticks, it needs to be enormous. It needs to be a gigantic monster like Death Shadow. And frankly, so long as Death Shadow is a deck in Modern, there is like no way that Delver can like. I think everything that a Delver deck wants to do, a Death Shadow deck will basically do it. So you just basically go to the Shadow archetype. If Skydiver's X cost could be 0, it would be so much better since it has to be at least 1, essentially makes it a 3-drop. I think that's fair. I mean, I certainly would like Skydiver to be 0'd and steal the 0 mana artifacts immediately, but I think it's still okay. Why is spamming chat so bad? Well, because it makes it difficult for everyone reading to read the discussion. What's the best way to get into Modern on a budget? Honestly, I don't know what your budget is, but you go to do this. I don't know. Let's say $100 is your budget, which is generally the case. Go to mtggoldfish.com. Go to decks. Go to metagame. I was already there. Select the format, select modern, and look at the prices. Now, some of these prices are going to be really high, but some of them are actually really low. Like, where are we going to get here? Well, first off, you should be playing online on Magic the Gathering Online because that's where you can get it cheapest. So on Magic the Gathering Online, you can get some of these decks for like super, super cheap. Hold on. Is there anything... I'm just trying to see, is there anything for like $100? Well, okay, if you're looking for paper, then this is like a really good way to just glance. Now, if you're looking at getting into Magic Online, click the deck and then look at how many ticks it's worth. Each tick is worth $1, so this is $241, but I guarantee you there's a bunch of archetypes that cost like very little money. Oh, this is really expensive, $358. I think, isn't Blitz cheap? $166, not bad. Not bad at all for the Is It Blitz deck. If I recall correctly, Oops All Spells is pretty cheap. $241. What's expensive in this deck now? The Aghaim's Awakening. Oh, and Pact of Negation. So if you can live without Pact of Negation, you can turn this into a $100 deck. If you can live without Pact of Negation. I think Ad Nauseam is cheap. About $143. Not bad. Tron was relatively cheap, if I remember. Oh, still $282. Ulamog, Yuka. Whoa, you're really expensive. Oh, that was tabletop. I didn't look at Magic the Gathering Online. Ooh, Karn the Great Creator is expensive. Holy shit. It's exploded in price. So I was looking at the wrong prices earlier for Oops All Spells. These used to be a lot cheaper. This is $209. I swear these were cheaper. People are playing Magic the Gathering Online. Turn Timber Symbiosis seems to be like the most expensive card in these decks. But anyway, go. I think that there are like, where's Gift Storm? Where's Storm? Storm is a really strong deck. I don't know if you like combo decks. Look, 87 ticks online. That's a really cheap deck. Very, very cheap. If I'm not mistaken, Dredge is also pretty cheap online. Where's Dredge? Where are you, Dredge? You show yourself. I had to have missed it. It's not this. It can't be this far down. There it is. 173 ticks, but I believe, pending the fetch lands that you play, you can make it cheaper. Oh no, where's Magic the Gathering Online? Oh, maybe you can't make it that much cheaper. What's the most expensive card? Anyway, I hope that gives you some ideas about how to get into the format on a budget. Is there a way to make Freya Lizine Radiance playable in Modern? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Cumulative upkeep for 2 mana. No permanents don't untap during the controller's untap step. Remove the cumulative upkeep. That upkeep cost is a beating. Oh, okay. So Keppa wants to know, what's a mana rock that we can... Is there any mana rocks that add 2 or more white mana? Okay, I can think of Gilded Lotus, but this is what the community is good for. Okay, so this is what we're known for. There's Gilded Lotus. This is a bit expensive, and this is more of a commander card. This is not really a competitive, but like this is not like a modern like card, but I mean this will do the job. Gilded Lotus is a 5 mana artifact. I can do you better. You want 2 more white mana? You can get 3 white mana. What else, community? What else? There's Gilded Lotus. Lotus Bloom is a bit slow, but might, and is a 1 only. I think you were looking for a mana rock though. I think our friend Keppa here is looking for a mana rock, but Lotus Bloom is also a card that can add more than 1 white mana. But it's a one-shot deal. Pentad Prism, that is a great. That's a good one. But you do need several different colors in your deck. Pentad Prism. So like you need, it has Sunburst. You remove, you pay 2 mana to cast it, and you get a counter on it for each color mana that you spent to cast it. So let's say you have a white-red deck. You get 2 color manas on this thing, and then you remove a charge counter from Pentad Prism, add 1 mana of any color. Signets? Yeah, but signets, is there any double white signets? Oh, there's also the, what's it, Lotus Field. This isn't a mana rock, this is a land, sorry. Hold on, but there's that, yeah, the Nyx Lotus. Is that a card? Nyx Lotus? Yeah, oh, it literally is a card called Nyx Lotus. So you got 4 mana, Nyx Lotus enters the battlefield tapped. You choose a color, add an amount of mana of that color equal to your devotion to that color. Really, that's a really good suggestion. It costs a little bit of money. It costs a little bit to get out. 4 mana is not nothing. And you do need the devotion on the battlefield, but it will work. Terrarian, does that work? ETB tapped, add 2 mana in combination of any colors. When Terrarian is put into the graveyard, you have to sacrifice it. But it's an I don't know if that's what I don't know if that's what was being asked for, but this is also, I guess, an option. But I think we've gone over basically everything that is playable in that sort of direction. Nyx Lotus is a worse Shrine of Nyx. I wouldn't say that, because this doesn't cost any mana to activate. That's a big difference. You just tap this one. Mikey J with the Coalition Relic. That's a good one. I think every other turn you can get 2 mana. So it's 3 mana. 3 mana artifact. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Put a charge counter on Coalition Relic at the beginning of your pre-combat main phase. Remove all charge counters from Coalition Relic. Add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool for each charge counter removed this way. So you can like put a charge counter on it at the end of your opponent's turn. Then on your turn, you get a mana, but then you can also tap it for another mana. Yeah, I have no idea what the question is for, but I hope that gives some food for thought. I think that we gave some pretty good answers. Hope that helps. Can you talk a bit about Unsummon? When is Unsummon better than the other 1 mana removal spells? What decks might experiment with Unsummon? Blue tempo decks would play Unsummon. And we might as well. First off, no deck would play Unsummon. Well, I mean, like, unless you don't have Vapor Snag available. So going over it briefly, you want to play with these 1 mana bounce spells when the format is full of clunky creatures, because if your opponent is spending 3 to 4 mana to play a creature and you just bounce it back for 1 mana, that's backbreaking. You basically spent a mana to time walk your opponent. They basically did nothing for the turn. But it's bad as the converted mana cost of spells get lower and lower. So if the format is full of like 1 mana and 2 mana creatures, this doesn't do anything. Okay, they play 1 mana creature. Okay, you bounce it back to their hand. Okay, they just replay it next turn in addition to another creature, and you didn't really time walk them. You get what I mean? So, and if the game keeps going longer, that eventually is card disadvantage because you're just down a card for doing this. So if you can tempo your opponent out when they sink 3 or more mana into a creature that you bounce back, that's a win. But if it's and also it also matters that you are a deck applying pressure, so you're not a control deck. This is not a good type of control like card. But if you're like a Merfolk deck, a Delver deck, some sort of blue tempo deck, you'd want something like Vapor Snag or / Unsummon. But like it's good. So a card like Unsummon is only good if you can literally tempo out the opponent. When they're playing clunky creatures, you're bouncing them for 1 mana. That's a big win for you. Budget Modern equals Gift Storm plus watch Caleb stream. I've seen some dredge decks though for less than 100 though. Time to ban Uro or Omnath? I don't know if it's time. A lot of people are just waiting on Uro to get banned. I think the format's still pretty stable. Maybe that's why Wizards is just dragging themselves on this. For any format other than Standard and Pauper, one of the best ways to get into the format is to have your 40 fetch lands. After that, it gets relatively cheaper. I mean, but it's still, that is a huge upfront cost. Like, that's very expensive, and not everyone is willing to play like every single archetype out there. I mean, like, if your end goal is to build a big collection anyway, I guess it's fine. Totally unrelated question. Have you seen the series Hilda? It's really good. Sorry, I've not seen the series. Someone's suggesting moxes and Benjamin suggesting moxes and lotuses. I managed to finish building the old mono red prowess deck right before the meta switched to the Izzet version and the Abosh version. Which you suggest to upgrade to? I would say the Izzet version. Izzet version seems to... I mean, I think either of them is fine. For one reason or another, got to get M. Hayashi's feedback. The Abosh deck is like losing metagame share really fast, and the Izzet version is just gaining big time. It's just basically filling the void of where the Abosh deck was. And truth be told, the Izzet version is more aggressive. It's faster than the Abosh version because that one has just more grind to it. You can have explosive turns, but for the most part, it's just more of a grinding version. So if you want, I would say play the Izzet version. You could go either way, though. You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong, to be honest. If you don't want to buy into the mana base, go to the Abosh version. It's all good. Nikachu, you can simply use the advanced search feature. Oh yeah, we could do that. No, but it's difficult to describe, like, I know what you mean, but it's very difficult to describe, you know, what adds 2 or more mana. Good morning, Fish Fam, says Jarl. Good morning, sorry for being late. It's all good. We all got to go to work. M. Hayashi says the meta is adapting, getting faster, or dealing with Blood Moon better. Or there's just more Blood Moon decks. Does Lurrus need to be banned even after the companion change? I would think so. I gotta make a video on this. We had a Coffee and MTG. It's not just Lurrus, it's all the companions. Any deck that's playing with a companion is performing better than the decks that are not playing the companions. Because they can't. How do you feel about Prison, Mono Red, or Boros, since a lot of the decks have 1 mana or 2 drops, especially the Lurrus decks? I think it's great. I mean, I'm not willing to put the work in to make it work, but I think the Prison decks are well positioned. Maybe they'll have some trouble against some combo decks, but I think they're well positioned in my opinion. All right, guess what time it is, people? It's Decklist review time. So if you want to submit your 75 to get reviewed on the show, there is a link to my Discord in the description. Go to my Discord. There is a channel called Decklist Review. Now, in Decklist Review, use the command and use it properly, people. ! Review deck space, put the URL, and try not to put too many. You can put the format after that if you want, but don't make it more than 100 characters or the bot is going to reject it. It doesn't like to read a lot of stuff. It's a fussy bot. What can I tell you? Not all bots are nice. So while people are submitting their deck list, we are going to thank our sponsors, starting with themanabase.com, your home base for everything Magic the Gathering. And the Manabase is sponsored by FusionGamingOnline.com. And the deal of the week this week, save up to 25% off old board games. So if you're looking to get yourself some Seven Wonders or the World of Warcraft board game, you can find it at FusionGamingOnline.com. And you always want to check out the deal of the week every single week because it is a new deal every single week. And just a reminder, it's my favorite local game store, but it is in Canadian prices. So make sure you do the conversion. And we're also going to thank... Oops. What am I doing here? We're going to thank Mana Traders, what's going on here? Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online. And you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below. Or, if you're looking for some value as you test out your decks, you can save yourself 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. Get my branding back up. Wish there was an easier way to move everything. There's a new mythic. Let's see if it better be good to interrupt Decklist review. Is this it? Teralf, God of Fury? Trample whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage. Teralf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent. It also is a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature has Tap unattached Trolf's Hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target. Return Trolf's Hammer to its owner's hand. Quick creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's legendary. I could see play. See what happens. Could see play. Could happen. Yeah, Wizards of the Coast, not my sponsor. Wizards of the Coast does not sponsor me. Do you think Jund can become tier 1 with the new Tibalt? We'll have to see how good the interaction is. Yes, I am aware that the Tibalt can be cascaded into. I don't think it's going to be done often. I was quoted 22%. That sounds ridiculous because there's still Thoughtseize, Inquisitions, Tarmogoyfs. Well, I don't know how the deck is constructed. We'll see what happens. Because it can come into play, destroy a creature, but then its loyalty is relatively vulnerable. It can be killed on the backswing. We'll just see what happens. Okay, let's do some deck list review. You can submit lists as we do this. Dire. Renegade Warriors. The Warriors are back. Love me some Warriors. Renegade Warriors. 92 ticks, nice. Elves is a budget deck. Okay, we got Elvish Mystic, Heritage Druid, Drago Warcaller, Llanowar Elves, Nettle Sentinel, Bramblewood Paragon, Dwinnen's Elite, Growth Chamber Guardian, Champion of Lambert. This is not a new card. Double green, a generic. Creatures with power less than Champion of Lambolt's power can't block creatures you control. Creatures with power less than? Okay, so it's a way of getting unblockable damage. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of Lambolt. I think this is worth looking at. Rishgar. I'm not a fan of Rishgar, to be honest. ETB, put a +1/+1 counter on each up to 2 target creatures. Now, you got an ETB effect, so you know what? I can't blame you there. Each creature you control with a counter on it has add green to manage your mana pool. Okay, I could be underrating this card. It doesn't seem that strong, but maybe I'm underrating it. Like, a lot of stuff already adds mana. Like, what do you need more mana for? I might want more Champion of Lambolt. Inscription of Abundance. That's interesting to have this in the main deck, but it is a powerful answer to... It's actually... This card might be, like, really underrated. It's like a removal spell. Here, can we make this larger? So, like, Inscription. This is like a removal spell. You can also kill Death Shadows. Because you can make target player gain X life, where X is the greatest power among creatures they control. You can put counters on stuff. You can kick it. Like, you can get 2 things about this. What about Azuri? Azuri's clunky. I would not play Azuri in the modern metagame right now. It's not very good individually, and it's very clunky. I think they ramp a little bit. Like, they do have Llanowar. They have Elvish Mystic. They have Llanowar Elves. They have Heritage Druid. The Great Henge. Spell costs X less to cast, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. You gain 2 life whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control. Put a +1/+1 counter on draw a card. This might be good. I don't know how well this card will play in the deck. But you know what? If I had a crap load of mana, I would rather play with the Turn Timber Symbiosis. It'd be a lot more expensive. Wow, you have one of these. It's $62. That's crazy. That's crazy. This card is so expensive. I think I would still rather have Turn Timber Symbiosis over this card, though. Like, if you want this sort of creature, you like, cast a creature, draw a card. There's cheaper options. There's like that 4 mana creature that you can draw a card. I'm not a fan of the Great Henge in this deck. How many creatures do we have? 35. Oh yeah, more than enough for Collected Company. More than enough. Also, I think Turn Timber Symbiosis works very well with your Draga Warcaller, because you can find it and it'll come into play with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. We got 2 Pithing Needle, 2 Relics, Shaper, Sanctuary, Surgical Extraction, Collector of Guise, Blessing, Return to Nature, Weather the Storm. I think it... Do you need Return to Nature? Hold on, what does this do again? Oh yeah, okay, you still need Artifact Destruction. Yeah, that's fine. And also, it's a little bit of graveyard hate. I like that. A little bit of graveyard hate at the end. Isn't this like a strictly better disenchant? Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment, exile target card. This is like a strictly better disenchant, right? If I'm not mistaken. Disenchant still sees play. Destroy target artifact or enchantment. Destroy target artifact, destroy target enchantment. Yeah. This is a strictly better disenchant. Look at that. Look how powerful green is. Just outclassing white here. Had this card since alpha and beta. Boom. Return to nature. I almost feel like being mad for white here. Pendelhaven has to be a free roll? Not necessarily, because it can get hit by Blood Moon, but I have no problem with cards like Pendelhaven. Yeah, maybe we should have a Pendelhaven in here. 16 forests. For not like using it at all. I spelt it wrong. Oh. There we go. Add green, target 1/1 creature gets +1/+2 until end of turn. Sure. I think a 1 of is fine. Should put a Pendelhaven in here. Wilt is fine, but they're choosing to play Return to Nature. Because it can hit like, for example, Uro. So honestly, I would have Turn Timber Symbiosis in this deck over the Great Henge if I were to if I had to spend a lot of money. It is Turn Timber. It just works better because you have you've got look at the top 7 cards of your library. You can put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield. If that card has converted mana cost 3 or less, it enters the battlefield with 3 +1/+1 counters on it. So like you have good things to search for. You can find the Draga Warcaller. But not only that, you can also find your Growth Chamber Guardian, and it's going to enter the battlefield with the counters, and then you can search for another Growth Chamber Guardian. The castle? I guess the castle's fine too. Yeah, so like we only have forests in here. We might as well just upgrade this deck a little bit with some Castle Garenbrig. You know what? This one might be. Oh, it's not too risky. ETB tapped unless you control a forest. So long as we have, I think, 13-ish. I would say 12 to 13, maybe like 12 to 13 forests. We can add some Castle Garenbrigs. It's a way of getting, like, I guess, a little bit of mana. Honestly, there's probably got to be a better one. Veil of Summer is totally an option for the sideboard, but not necessary. Especially since there's a lot of red hate out there. And then whenever you play against, like, Rakdos or something, they're playing a lot of cards that get around Veil of Summer. I've, like, discovered that. They have, like, a lot of Edict effects. The only thing that you can Veil of Summer nowadays is, like, Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek, basically. I don't have enough mana to run that. Well, the idea is that it's a free roll. Like, you have nothing to lose by playing this. And you never know, you might have enough mana where you need to add where you have 4 mana available plus this, and you can add an extra one. I think the advantage in this deck is pretty small, though, to be honest. I'd rather have the Turn Timber Symbiosis. And so I think that's it. I think that's all we can give. Yeah, try Rishkar, see if it's actually what you want. If not, if it doesn't work out so well, play with Champion. Yeah, I think I might be underrating this card, but it's the only card that stands out to me as like a little weak compared to everything else. It's a bit underwhelming, but maybe it's better than I'm giving it credit for. So thank you very much for submitting the list. It's a pretty clean list, honestly. Very clean. Like the numbers. Really good stuff. Good luck with it. And I like the idea of an Inscription of Abundance in the main deck. Hexdrinker? Hexdrinker doesn't see play in any deck. I don't think it would see play in Elves. Although you do have access, something to sink all your mana into. All right, let's look at another list. I see someone's trying to submit something. Oh. I'm going to give Milo a second to resubmit because I can see they screwed it up. Milo, no space. Don't put a space. Here, I'm going to help you, Milo. I'll submit your deck for you. Sorry, don't press enter. Put the space, but don't press enter. I fixed it for you. I've submitted it on your behalf. Okay. Select someone at random. Donahue. Death Shadow Voltron. What the hell does that mean? You're welcome, Direwolf. Good luck. Greetings from Canada, Jan. All right, we've got Walking Ballista. It's called Death Shadow Voltron. You mean like the anti-Death Shadow deck or something? So we have Walking Ballista, Birds of Paradise, Caustic Caterpillar, Sacrifice, Destroy Target Artifact or Enchantment, Death Shadow. What? Elves of the Deep Shadow. You only have one of these. Fauna Shaman. Discard a creature card. Search your library for a creature card. Reveal it, put into your hand. Then shuffle your library. Lotless Troll. Nether Trader. Haste Shadow. Whenever another creature is put into your graveyard from play, you may pay a black. If you do, return Nether Trader from your graveyard to play. Okay, you gotta help me here. Oh, you have Sahana, Ledgewalker, Spellskite. There's definitely some combo here I'm completely oblivious to. What is it? We have 2 Lightning Greaves. It's Varl's Death Shadow. What does Varl's do? I haven't read it in like for 7 years. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge. The Scavenge cost is equal to its mana cost. Sacrifice another creature, regenerate Varl's the Scar Striped. Exile a creature card from your graveyard and pay its mana cost. Put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that card's power on target creature. Scavenge. Also, what you want to do is so the idea is you dump your Death Shadows in the graveyard and then you scavenge, because it's a 13/13, and then you put it on another creature. I think that's the combo here. It's pretty clunky, to be honest. This is a very clunky combo. It's counters. Put a number of +1/+1 counters, and I'm guessing you want to put on Walking Ballista. Oh boy. Okay, how do we help this deck? How do we deal with this? Okay, I want to give feedback. It's fancy. I'm just gonna put it up to you. I'm just gonna say it up straight. This is a very fancy deck. Because like not only do you need the Vrals in play, you need to then you need to like get the creatures in the graveyard. Yeah, it might be better off as a Grizzly Salvage Satyr Wayfinder deck, except it's not. Well, you need this thing. You need the troll. Because the whole deck plays around the troll. Oh, you mean Lotless Troll? Discard a creature card. I think the idea is they want to be able to have some option to discard their cards. If anything, I want more Lotless Trolls. I don't really like the idea of... What's it called? Where is she? I'm not loving Fauna Shaman. I think this is a little too much to set up. Or do you really desperately need this card? Is there a better way of getting to Vrals, like with Eldritch Evolution or something? Herald, we don't know what's the best Cat Tribal deck yet. I've seen a few builds, but I haven't seen the best one yet. Remove Caterpillar? Caterpillar's a really good way of, like, beating some cards that, like, for example, it's like a good toolbox card. Like, we got the one-ofs for... Well, I have no idea why this is in the deck. This seems ridiculous. I guess the idea is you have a hexproof creature that the opponent can't kill. But then again, like, if your opponent has a lot of removal, the Fauna Shaman probably died before it could even tutor for this thing. Once Upon a Time is banned. That's the problem. It would be good in this deck. Okay, dump this card for sure. I don't know what you have it in the deck for, but this one is not worth being here. Well, Grizzly Salvage and the other creature are pretty good, but I don't know if there's enough creatures in this deck to take advantage of that, to be honest. I mean, maybe it's better. Oh, they do have Grizzly Salvage. I don't know if I can get behind this Lightning Greaves. These cards are so gimmicky. I'd rather just have more Spell Skites, if anything else. I think these cards are just pretty crappy. How many cards are in this deck? 24, 21, 6, 2, 7. You have Unearth, Gather the Pact. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library. You may put a creature card from among them into your hand. Put the rest into your graveyard. If there are 2 more instants or sorcery cards in your graveyard, put up to 2 cards. I think instead of Gather the Pact, you could have Satyr Wayfinder. Because this is at least a blocker. Oh, Stitcher Supplier is a really good idea. Yeah, Stitcher Supplier. Isn't that just dumping cards? You don't get anything? Put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. Maybe this is better. Maybe this could, like, replace... How many lands do we have? We have 24 lands. We could replace the Birds of Paradise with Stitcher Supplier. That's a possibility. I don't know why you need so much mana. You just place, like, we can... I think with 24 lands, you have more than enough mana. Like, you're not really ramping out anything, to be honest. It's just a lot of... Everything's pretty cheap in this deck. So just go... Instead of Birds of Paradise, play Stitcher Supplier. Well, honestly, if they're not playing fetches, I'm assuming they don't have the money for fetches. I'm just gonna assume that based on the mana base. Blooming Marsh is fine. Wooded Cemetery needs forests and swamps, though. You have 10. Well, this turns everything into a swamp, so I guess that'll be okay. But Wooded Cemetery might be a little clunky. How many green mana sources do you have? I think you're okay. Blossoming Defense. Okay, sure. I would take out the Lightning Greaves. I would take out the Ledge Walker. I don't know what it's for. If anything, you can put another Spellskite in this deck. Yeah, Stitcher Supplier might be able to be replace Birds of Paradise. Do you have enough black sources? 4, 5, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it's close. You should have 13 untapped for turn 1. Maybe replace 1 Wooded Cemetery for a swamp. Deck needs better dump into grave to use Death Shadow more effectively. Drop Troll. But the engine is the Troll. Like, that's the point of the deck. So we can't drop the Troll. Maybe you could build an... Oh, wait, I don't know what Troll you're talking about. Lotleth Troll or this one? This is also a Troll. Like, as a tutor target, this is a bit weird, to be honest. Oh, Inkmoth Nexus is interesting. Interesting suggestion. Maybe a few Inkmoth in here is pretty good. I don't know what to replace, though. What is the other troll? There's 2 trolls. I don't know what the context is. You guys are like 15 seconds delayed to me. Would you splash red for Hellspark and Skelemental? No, there's no point in that. That's the third color is too much. Ledgewalker is unblockable and hexproof. Yeah, I understand. But if it's a tutor target, so if you're fauna shamaning for this thing to get around removal, I bet that's not a good strategy because the fauna shaman's dead already. Is red getting a counterspell? Okay, we'll quickly look at that as we finish this up. Unearth, I guess, is fine. I've never been in love with that card. Sideboard, a Blossoming Defense, Guttural Response, Nature's Claim, Nihil Spellbomb, Tragic Slip. I'm sort of low on Tragic Slip here. 3 Veil of Summer, 2 Heroic Intervention. You got a lot of stuff defending your creatures. The fact of the matter is your stuff should be just resilient to creatures in general. Or you just die. Like, I mean, the Veil of Summer is. I would say play Veil of Summer, and if you want to defend yourself from creatures, play Veil of Summer and what's it called? Shaper Sanctuary. Those are your best bets. This is your best way of protecting yourself from removal, getting really good value. Everything else, like Heroic Intervention, I'm not a fan of cards like this. I don't think there's that many sweepers in the format. Maelstrom Pulse is like okay. Nature's Claim. Like, I don't feel like counter target blue instant spell. I don't feel like these are like, here's another defensive creature spell, Gutter Response. Like, what are you trying to counter? Counter target blue instant spell? I guess you could hit Cryptic Command with this. Oh, you want to get rid of Lotleth Troll? Yeah, that's fair. So maybe, like, some of these tutor targets are just bad. Like, I don't like Nether Trader, to be honest. I don't like Lotleth Troll. I don't like Silhana, Ledgewalker. I like Caustic Caterpillar. That's a good one. That is a very good one. So maybe these 3 cards could be something else. So initially, I'm like, maybe you can have 1 Birds of Paradise in your deck just so that you have an evasive creature when you go all in with your Virals. But aside from that, I would rather play with some Stitcher Suppliers to dump stuff in your graveyard. Also, instead of Gather the Pact, I think for 2 mana, I would rather put a creature on the battlefield like Satyr Wayfinder. And I hope you remember my advice for the sideboard. So, Blooming the Defense takes out Hammer Time combo? Nope. Because only target creature you control. What if you dump the tutoring and lean into counters with Ozolith? I don't think there's enough counters strategy here. Like, it's all on Virals. Or I would just try to find better cards to tutor for. Anyway, that's my opinion. I hope that was some good feedback. I hope that helped. Oh, Thoughtseize? Thoughtseizes is very... yeah, Thoughtseize actually is totally fine for the sideboard. Even in the main deck, if you wanted to find some room for it. Like, Thoughtseize actually is a great card when you're in black. This is a really good suggestion by William. When you run in black, I mean, Thoughtseize is the ultimate card to, like, stabilize against basically any deck. Give you game against anything. Also helps reduce your life total to get, like, Death Shadow online if you ever want it online. Yeah, that's right. Always Thoughtseize. Anyway. Hope that was some useful feedback there. Okay, we're not done. There apparently Red got a counterspell. I'll go check it out. Tybalt's Trickery. A red and a generic instant counter target spell. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards and exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. They then put the exiled cards on the bottom of their library in a random order. So basically, Tybalt's Trickery is going to counter a spell, and then the opponent gets to play basically a spell at random. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. That's going to be crazy. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library. Well, hold on. How the F does this card work? Okay, we're going to counter a spell. We're going to roll dice to see if we're going to choose 1, 2, or 3. Let's say we got 3. So its controller mills that many cards. So let's say they're countering my spell. I'm milling 3 cards. First I mill 3 cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. What kind of fucked card is this? Why are we milling cards at all? They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So I guess the cost is you're going to fill my graveyard a little bit. It seems so irrelevant to put the milling card. Oh, the mill is so that scry can't be used? I'm not complaining, though. I love it. Oh, yeah, this is going to be... Well, yeah. Storm has access to blue, so I don't know if they really need this. Anyway, we'll see what happens. interesting card. I mean, it might be good for red in some situations where you need to deal with like one card. You don't give a shit about anything else. We got to deal with this one card right now, counter it, and if you find something else, that's fine. So that will be an interesting that's probably seeing Modern play. I'm just telling you right now. Like Jund now has access to a counter spell. So like Jund has access to counter spells. Rakdos has access to counter spells. Blood Moon decks have access to counter spells. Because if you need a counter spell for just specifically one type of card, like a combo win condition, and then your opponent finds like, I don't know, a cantrip after that, who cares? That's fair. And you have to find, and it's not exactly like polymorph, because it's like you have to find a spell that's with a different name. You exile cards on the top of the library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. So it's like you can like, okay, I'm countering your combo win condition. You cannot find that win condition. You have to find something else. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So it's gonna like just bump into like, I don't know. So like they play Allosaurus Rider. I counter your Allosaurus Rider. Now you have to like dig for a Manamorphose or something. What are some good anti-burn Merfolk cards in your meta? Tidebinder Mage, Spreading Seas, Chalice of the Void, Master of Waves, Ether Vial, counter spells in general. Mono Blue Merfolk has a really good game. Like Master of Waves should be your win condition. It has a very good game against burn. Yeah, I think this is a very powerful counterspell. This is very, very good. This will see Modern play. This is a new Modern staple we're looking at right now. Tybalt's Trickery. Modern staple. Right, we're looking at it right now. Everyone fucking laughed at Tybalt for years, and Tybalt's coming back with a vengeance to make sure that people are going to give him respect. I guess the idea is so that the opponent didn't stack their deck. Yeah, 2021 could be the year of red. It was already the year of red, in my opinion, going to the end of 2020. Oh yeah, so you can't counter yourself in selective memory, so you might be able to like stack something really good on top of your deck. There still might be some way to abuse this card, like, because you can stack your entire deck with like Belcher stacks their entire deck, you know what I mean? So there might be some other combos involved with this. Jarl is very excited for this one. What about a combo deck where you use this card on yourself? So, but that seems to be why they have the milling thing, so that you mill those cards away. But it's possible, yeah. So long as you can't find another Tybalt's Trickery. Or maybe that's still fine, I guess. It'll be interesting to see what people do. Yeah, they might. Okay, now I understand the polymorph part. Maybe you're going to use it on your own spells and see what happens. Can we Tybalt's Trickery? And okay, so let's say I Tybalt's Trickery and find another Tybalt's Trickery. Then the old Tybalt's Trickery has been countered and there's nothing left on the stack. Do you think Bant Infect can bring Infect back into the meta? It's possible. I think Infect needs to take a little bit of a different direction. I don't mind the idea of Golgari Infect. I think that's a little bit more reasonable because you get access to Thoughtseize. So you could, in theory, stack 3 Emrakuls on top of your deck and then counter your own spell for guaranteed Emrakul. Well, that's a little bit difficult. Stack 3 Emrakuls on top of your deck? That's hard to do. This card means we get a 10-minute video from Nikachu. That's right. I might talk about this one. This is I don't know if it's a huge game changer. It's definitely something that non-blue decks wanted access to. Look at this. Someone misspelled there in the translation. How dare they? Unless Wizards of the Coast didn't misspell it on the actual card, did they? No, they didn't. Okay, well, that's it for Decklist. That's it for Decklist review. That's it for Coffee and MTG. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to smash the like button. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. We got, like, if it wasn't for everyone showing up to Coffee and MTG every day, it wouldn't be a show. Now, if I didn't get to your comments and questions, if I didn't get to your deck list, don't worry. We do this Mondays to Fridays, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Do about 10-ish, sometimes 10:20. Got a lot of stuff to talk about these days, so Coffee and MTG runs a little bit late every day. But there's always another day to brew up the cup of coffee and brew up the Magic conversation. Now, I am going to be streaming today, so I can funnel you. Want some Merfolk gameplay? Go on to twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG. The streaming is going to continue, but Coffee and MTG is going to be ending. So for everyone on the replay, thank you very much for joining me again for another day of Coffee and MTG. Keep brewing up that coffee, and we'll keep brewing up the Magic. See you next time.